Hello, everyone. This is the greatest travel podcast in the universe, possibly 76th ranked travel podcast in Honduras. So that's huge. We're climbing up. We also talk sports, nonsense, and other stuff. But today we're talking the best things to do in Scottsdale / Phoenix. If you do not know, Phoenix and Scottsdale are the same thing. Scottsdale is just a Phoenix suburb, as is Tempe, Chandler, Gilbert, Ahwatukee, Peoria, and other places. Glendale, where the Cardinals play. So, don't be confused. I used to live in Scottsdale, but I worked in Phoenix when I had an office job. It's the same thing. You could be 1 minute in Phoenix, 1 minute in Scottsdale. So, this is going to cover all of the Phoenix metropolitan area. Things to do, where to stay, family stuff, bachelorette stuff, events, places to eat. And if you don't know, we'll get into where to stay. And I always make fun of the west side of Phoenix for reasons it's just a little bit more west side. Like I won't go there. I won't go to the avenues because your risk of being shot much higher. And the second I went to the avenues, I went there for the college basketball final national championship game. I cross into the west side. Some woman goes 2 lanes over and puts me into the curb, busts up my wheels. Thank God that was the only stuff that was messed up. And I felt like that was karma. Like I was talking mess about the west side multiple times on these podcasts and how I don't go to the avenues. And the first time I go to the avenue, put it into the wall. So I blame myself and her. She's an idiot. And I hope she gets in a single person car accident where she's not hurt, but she wrecks her wheels and some of her siding on her car. And she has to file an insurance claim that costs her $500 deductible because she is a poor driver. Where to stay in Phoenix? So Scottsdale, obviously, everyone mostly stays in Scottsdale. There is some great stuff downtown. I really like downtown in terms of it's just been up and coming. You wouldn't go there 15 years ago unless you're down there for a Diamondbacks game or a Suns game. But now there's a ton of amazing bars, restaurants, not a ton of stuff to do. There's obviously music venues. There's 3 or 4 different venues. Actually, no, there's 6 plus venues down there. So if you want to go to a show, whether it's the big ones at the Suns Arena and the Diamondback Stadium, the Diamondback Stadium does country festivals like all day, kind of country music things. There's also small venues where you can see smaller artists. I saw Zach Bryan before he blew up down there. Even Riley Green saw him in a tiny little venue, and now he's in giant venues. So tons of great places to see music, arts, entertainment. Downtown is also the arts district. Great little spot to stay if that's kind of what you're looking for. If you have kids, families, real quick, you can kind of stay wherever the stuff you want to do is. If you're an adult, I would always say stay in Scottsdale because that's a lot of the stuff you'll want to do will be in that area. Because you don't want to stay like I have people come to town. Oh, we're staying in Chandler because it's cheap. And well, yeah, there's a reason it's $100 a night because you're near a Chili's. I'm kidding. Chandler has a downtown Chandler, which has more than Chili's, but some of the outskirts. Queen Creek. Oh, my grandma has a place in Queen Creek. My parents have a place in Mesa. Ew. Again, I'm kidding. I'm not really kidding. You want to be where you want to be 10 minutes to everything, and staying way out in the suburbs is not it. But if you're a family, there's stuff all over town to do. There is the zoo in Phoenix. There is the Hot Wheels, I think they're building out on the west side. The Hot Wheels like amusement park. There are water parks on the west side as well as in Phoenix. Scottsdale also has the Butterfly Museum, the aquarium, a train park, and yeah, I don't know what else you do with kids. I guess I need to learn. But so families, you can kind of stay anywhere, see what you want to do with your kid. I would still say stay central as possible. for that reason. And yeah, so where to stay? I don't go to the avenues. Downtown Scottsdale, those are the best places. How to get around? I would say if you're a family, rent a car. It sucks because renting a car these days is stupid expensive, but Phoenix is a pretty sprawling area, especially if you want to do hiking. There's incredible hiking, which we will get to. But yeah, you want to rent a car if you're doing all stuff sprawling around Phoenix. If you're just in town for bachelor party, Uber, because you're not going to be doing a ton of stuff that you just can't Uber to easy enough, even if you want to hike Camelback or go to the best bar in America, which we'll get to. By the way, these tips are for people who are from here as well as people visiting. So if you're from here and you need ideas, I've got some coming for you. So still take a listen. Best things to do. What else did we cover? Where to stay, how to get around. Restaurants, I'll give you some stuff to do. If you love adventure, Phoenix is one of the best places to adventure. It's a gateway to adventure, I would say. Great hikes in town if you like hiking. Even if you don't, it's just a fun thing to do to overlook the city. Of course, Camelback Mountain is the most well-known, right in the heart of Scottsdale. One of the best things to do that I love to do. Hike Camelback and then go into Old Town for brunch, watch some sports games, or just a casual brunch with the family in quiet, or get on the mimosas, Bloody Marys, and have yourself a day. So tons of great hikes. Piestewa Peak is just 7 minutes down the road from Camelback Mountain. It's a little bit more central in Phoenix, so if you want to try that out, something new, still close. It's about, I'm going to stick with sevens. It's 7% easier than Camelback and 7 minutes shorter, but essentially a very similar hike in terms of height of the mountain and length of the hike. So another great hike. Then my favorite hike in Phoenix is in the Superstition Mountains, and it is called Flatiron. It is a 5-hour hike, I want to say. You can do it in 4 to 6. You go through 4 or 5 different landscapes. It's so cool. You feel like you're in the rainforest, then you're on Mars. You're in the desert. You're in the jungle. And then you're overlooking all of Phoenix from one of the highest points. And it's really pretty. So I love that hike. Also in the Superstitions, there's the Wave Cave. And there is Massacre Falls, which is a seasonal waterfall that's really pretty. The only waterfall in the Phoenix DMA. So check that out if you can. Really just during the spring season when all the snow is melting, that kind of stuff. If you want more hikes, of course, go to inspiretraveleat.com. Same thing with restaurants and everything else I'm going to go over. So you can see full lists of all this stuff, which I'm just going to tap into a little bit. Then there's some of the best hikes in all the United States are within 2 hours of Phoenix. Bob Bear Trail. There is the turquoise waters, waterfalls, swimming pools, springs, cave, views of the canyon. Second best hike in Arizona behind Havasupai Falls, just from the water and everything. You could maybe say Grand Canyon hike is right there, but there's that. There's Cibecue Falls, stunning waterfall. There is Fossil Creek, which is separate from Fossil Springs, a really cool waterfall. The West Clear Creek Wilderness is this hike where you go into the valley and then it's just gorgeous blue water and cliffs and all else. So check out, I've got 8 best hikes within 2 hours of Phoenix. Payson also has Water Wheel Falls, another springs I'm forgetting, Horton Springs. There's so many hikes within 2 hours of Phoenix that are waterfalls and just a utopia that you wouldn't think existed when you land in Phoenix. So check those out. Of course, it is a gateway to Sedona, since we'll stay on the adventure and hiking. I won't go into Sedona too much. I already have a whole podcast on this. Also on the website, you'll see a ton of best things to do in Sedona, best hikes, best restaurants, etc. Go for at least 2 days. Don't do a day trip to Sedona, and only do it if you're in town for 7 days. If you're only in town 3 or 4 days, there's so much to do in the area that you don't want to waste a whole day driving 2 hours there, 2 hours back. That highway is a mess. 1 out of 10 times there's some accident and you're stuck in traffic for 1 to 2 hours longer than you should be. They're finally widening it, but it's not wined yet. But yeah, Sedona. Also, there's wineries, distilleries, breweries. So you don't want to go up to Sedona, have a few drinks, and have to drive 2 hours back home. And there's you need to do at least 2 to 3 hikes when you're visiting, which that doesn't give you enough time. Just a 1 day up and down. Some really good restaurants and views. So to really make the most of Sedona, you need 2 days, overnight, 1 night. That's Sedona. And adventure. So a ton of adventure in Phoenix. Next is events. So many events in Phoenix. If you love country music, behind Nashville, I don't know, that's probably a lie. I'm sure Dallas has great stuff, as do other places. But I'm going to say it. Behind Nashville, some of the best country events in the U.S. Between Country Thunder, there's Boots in the Park twice a year. There's 2 other festivals I can't even remember off the top of my head, but great. Midland was there at the one I was just at. Other festivals, if you love EDM, they have huge EDM festivals here. There are Pat's Run. Pat Tillman. If you're not familiar with Pat Tillman, Google him. He's passed. His family and charity have a giant run to raise money that is famous here. Of course, there is spring training, which I hate baseball. It's boring. Going to spring training, you have to go. It's cheap. Have some drinks outside. People watch. If you're single, if you're a family, it's got something for everyone. Kids can play on the outfield lawn and just hang out. Bring a little picnic basket. I think you can bring in water to most places, and maybe snacks. So great time. Cheap fun had by all. Then there's the Waste Management Phoenix Open, which is the biggest draw to golf enthusiasts in Phoenix. I guess also the golf courses. But it's chaos. It's the greatest tournament in all of golf. It is a music festival, essentially, but with golf going on. And not because there's music, I just mean it's just chaos. People drinking, all else. You've seen, it's gone downhill. I go once every 3 or 4 years. I used to go every single year, 2 or 3 times each year, like to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Between me being old and it also just turning into a hurry up and wait. If you saw on the news last year, they shut it down midway through the day, like entrance, because it was too overcrowded. So imagine you paid $1,000 for a 16th green pass and you can't get in because they closed it down because they overpopulated and overserved people. And it also sucks because there's so many different tickets you can have. So one of your friends could have a greenskeeper pass. One could have a 16th green pass. One could have a clubhouse 18th pass. One could have GA. So half the time you're never where your friends are anyways. They all have separate tickets, which is a big pain, and you never actually see them. Like, oh, I can't wait to see you. You will never see them. Unless they have the same ticket, you won't. There's no cell service when you're up there, so you can't even find your friends when you lose them. 20 to 40 minute bathroom waits, 20 to 40 minute waits to buy alcohol, 20, 40 minute waits to get a wristband so you can buy alcohol. It's just turned into madness. Mudslides, and I don't know. You still have to go once. It is a bucket list item. But as you can tell by the news from last year, it's just 10 years ago, greatest thing on earth. Now, I'm over it. Kind of like Coachella. You hear just bad things about Coachella lately because the same thing, overcrowded, overpriced, and just not great. Let me see here. Other events, I think that's it. Dive into the Wild West. So I talked about the country music. The best bar in America is a country bar, and it is called Buffalo Chip Saloon and Steakhouse. If you're there for a bachelor party or adult trip, then you have to go. There's live bull riding. Yes, correct. Live bull riding on Wednesdays and Fridays, and anyone can do it. I've done it for charity. I raised $3,000. I will never ride a bull again. It is the scariest thing on earth. But it is amazing. If you're single, you have to go. Dress on up a little cowboy. Have a great time. It's all ethnicities and cultures. I brought my African American group of friends there who were very nervous because as we got out of town, it was pitch black, and they're like, "Where are you taking us?" Not excited whatsoever. Then we got there. There is bits of pieces of racism. We actually made a deal that I would owe them money for every racist thing that happened. So like a MAGA hat was I think $25. Some sort of anti-Biden shirt was $25. The N-word was 100, maybe 200, and other kind of things in between that. I would owe my buddy Walter money. Thankfully, he ended up owing me like $50. So it all turned around nicely, and it's safe for everyone to go to. I don't want to call it a melting pot, but just go on up there, have yourself a good time. It's gotten overcrowded as well. I take part of the blame. I've promoted this place like crazy, and now during the nice weather times, you can barely move. So amazing place, but overcrowded, as all the best things are. If you want to eat, great food in Phoenix. Some of the best. You can go to the website inspiretraveleat.com for the 23 best restaurants in Phoenix. But to give you a few, my favorite place, the Rokery, which has 3 sister restaurants. They're all next to each other. Rosie's is the bar. Rokery is a little bit higher fine dining. Richardson's is like a more family restaurant. And then Dick's Hideaway is kind of like a bar restaurant. It's kind of like a dive bar and a restaurant mixed together. This is my favorite one. They seat you right next to other people. It's the carne adobada is one of the greatest foods in all of Arizona. Immaculate. Especially for breakfast, you add it with eggs. It's like the slow roasted spicy pork. Oh my god, I would never would have been something I'd order before, and then I got it. And their tortillas, unreal. The portions, you'll end up having 2 meals for just 1 meal. Get an extra tortilla. They'll give you a free tortilla when you leave, so you have that for your leftovers. I don't even care about tortillas. They're the best tortillas in the world. Duck in Decatur, local family sandwich place. If you just want like a cool deli, there's a couple locations. I used to love Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. Since they've opened more and more restaurants, it used to be just 2. It's kind of diluted the quality a little bit. So I'd say 25% of the time the chicken's it's really dry. Still go. The vibe is awesome. You got to have chicken waffles with hot sauce and syrup all in one bite. Trust me, it's a game changer. So that's another favorite spot to eat. Chelsea's Kitchen, the prime rib, best prime rib in town. Ooh, I had another really good prime rib somewhere, but Chelsea's Kitchen, their fries, best fries in town. They do some sort of like Cajun with a touch of cinnamon, and they have free cookies when you walk out the door, and good food all around. They also have a seafood restaurant, which I always forget. I go to all the time, and I never remember the name. You'll just have to find it. Go to Chelsea's Kitchen and find their sister seafood restaurant. I don't know why it's not coming to me. But if you want seafood, that's my favorite spot. And I could list going on. Giuseppe's Ristorante. If you want a hole-in-the-wall Italian place, family-owned, Pasquale, the owner, he comes and says hi. It's just like you're part of the family. You can bring your own wine bottles in. They have a grandfathered law where you're allowed to bring your own wine, and they'll uncork it for you and pour it. It is cash only. Great time. Pasquale is a great host. Brilliant. But yeah, go to the site for more stuff like that. Best bars, 2-fold. Probably more-fold. Probably 5-fold. Old Town Scottsdale, as you know, is the place. It's the best place to party in the United States. It was until the last couple of years. It's gotten overpriced and ridiculous. Obviously, Vegas, Miami, synonymous with parties. Aside from those 2 places, they're like in their own weird class of partying. Phoenix is the best after that. Those 2 don't count. Or Old Town, sorry. It's known as the Vortex here locally, where you go in on a Friday and you leave Sunday night. I don't really go as much anymore or at all unless I have to, unless, I have friends' bachelor party in town or some reason I just have to go. Locals are kind of boycotting it. They've overpriced everything. $25 for a Tito's and soda. $20 for a White Claw. Locals now go to dive bars. Old Town has a ton of cool smaller bars that are just as fun. Maybe not the same club experience. You have to go once, obviously, to have that full club Old Town experience. But if you want something more low key, less sardines in a can, can't move, $25 drinks, there's dive bars. There's cool bars all around. And you go to the site to find those. A ton of lists, such as Boondocks is cool, Coach House, Dilly Dally, Little Woody, a plethora of fun little dive bars. All there's the Rusty Spur. There's another country little bar in Old Town. It was called Martini Ranch. Now I can't think of what the name of the place is, but it's just go off the strip, go off the vortex. You'll save some money. You'll still have a great time. And yeah, we really need the Old Town area to stop taxing so much. But until that happens, it doesn't have my 100% recommendation. You still have to go once, but I now go other places. And I'm fine paying $25 a drink. I pay $25 for an old fashioned at Toka, Kala, Global Ambassador. You have to go to all three of those places, especially Global Ambassador for drinks. Don't go to Toka for food. Their food's terrible. Kala's food's okay. Tal was on an earlier podcast, but he's like a part owner of it. So you can't take his word, I don't think. Sorry, Tal, but you're insider trading. But Global Ambassador, wow, for like a fancy cocktail, go there. Same thing with Toka, same thing with Kala. But Global Ambassador is taken over. So has the MGM. I forget the name of it, but MGM just opened a new, or Caesars Republic, or Republic at Caesars, has opened in Scottsdale. Another, kind of higher end cocktail place to go. So check those out. And yeah, tons of bars downtown. If you want more of a artsy dive bar scene, incredible spots downtown for just much more chill. And they even have like kind of a couple clubs. Valley Bar is an underground bar that you go down an alley for. There's an arcade bar called Cobra. I could list more and more. I won't waste your time. Just want to touch on it. Go to inspiretraveleat.com to find the best bars in Phoenix, places to go. There's tons of breweries. I also miss for families. Christmas at the Princess. The Princess Resort sets up an entire Christmas world. They have a skating rink. They have a train ride. They have lights. They have a theme park. It's gotten stupid expensive now, so really not many people can afford it aside from higher end families, unfortunately. But if you really want to splurge, go for it. Go check it out. The kids will love it. It's a good date night place as well if you're younger. If you're older, I guarantee the girl you're taking or the boy you're taking has already done it on 5 different dates. So a way to make it cheaper, you can actually dine there and then you can park for free and you might get entrance for free. I don't know if they changed that. Because if not, parking's $50 or something silly. I guess you could always Uber. But yeah, the dining, there's 3 or 4 restaurants up there. I've ate at 2 of them. Really good. But again, they're kind of more fine dining, so you're splurging a little bit. It is a money grab. It's not amazing, but it's cool. It's something to do. But is it worth the money? If you're on a budget, no. I talked about spring training. Great Mexican food in town. Obviously, we're right near the border. Speaking of the border, go to Mexico. I had no idea before moving here. No one does. You're 3.5 hours from a Mexican town paradise on the water, turquoise water. It is called Rocky Point or Puerto Penasco, however you want to pronounce that. It's really cool. People told me to go and I was a little sketched on it. No, it's not Tulum, Cancun, Holbox. It's still really cool. You're in Mexico. Some amazing restaurants on a hill overlooking the ocean, turquoise water, as I mentioned, as the sunset goes down. There are beach restaurants, so you eat on the beach. The sand's all right. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It actually is good. I'd say it's like same as Puerto Vallarta or even Cabo. Same. Water's beautiful. They have sailing trips. They have sunset cruises. They have booze cruises. You can go out to an island full of seals. I think there's also trips to scuba dive with sharks way out there. That's an option. It for how close it is to Phoenix, it is. San Diego is my favorite city in North America. I would go to Puerto Penasco over San Diego from a price point standpoint, and it's closer. So San Diego's 6 hours from Phoenix. You can get to Rocky Point, which is also called Puerto Penasco, in 3.5 hours. Just be sure to avoid peak times when you cross the border on Friday nights, afternoons, Sunday nights, afternoons, mornings. The wait can be 1 to 4 hours, especially on long weekends. And I'm not kidding. It's typically 2 to 3 hours. So I always go on a Thursday and come back on a Monday. So do that if you can, because you do not want to be wasting. It's already a 3.5 hour drive. Add on 2 or 3 more hours at the border. Miserable. Pay for an extra night. Take an extra day off. Stay to avoid the mass crowds at the border. But do go if you haven't been. Incredible. Float the Salt River. So there's a river in Phoenix that you can just float down. I think forget the cost. I haven't been in a while. It's $20 to $30-ish per person. They give you a tube. They bus you to the entrance of the water where then you just float down. You can bring all the alcohol you want. You can bring a speaker. Amazing time. It's gotten a little crowded. There's also wild horses. Sometimes will be drinking the water along the stream. So that's kind of a bucket list thing to see legit wild horses. They're all over that area. So it's really cool if you see those. So yeah, you can do that and have a great old time. There's a ton of lakes in Phoenix you would never think. So you can go do your boating. You can rent a pontoon boat. Lake Pleasant is a huge tie-up party area. Or you can just do all the water sports activities. Saguaro Lake, plethora of lakes. Fishing, there's fishing everywhere. It really is you'd never think the desert has so many lakes, rivers, waterfalls, tons of fun water adventures, and you can do them pretty much year round, which is a great part about Arizona. First Friday, missed an event. First Friday is on the first of every Friday of the month, and it's downtown Roosevelt Row, which I kind of spoke to, where there's great restaurants, dive bars, and other kind of fun bars that aren't clubs. And basically, it's like a Mexican street fair, but not Mexico. And it's not Mexican. There's some Mexican stuff, but just picture you're in Mexico and it's just a fair. I guess they have fairs everywhere, right? Like a flea market. I just see them predominantly in Latin America. It's like that. People there's street food, street vendors, street performers, music. They shut down streets and streets in downtown Phoenix for it, walking everywhere. It's really fun to do. Great for a little family stuff. They have tons of kids stuff and, people selling knickknacks and whatever else. Good date night. There's tons of good restaurants around there. So grab some dinner, then walk around First Friday, go to a bar. Really worth checking out. I love First Friday. I mentioned the secret bars. Watch a show at the Orpheum Theater. So the Orpheum Theater is a 90-year-old plus venue that has everything. I saw a prominent comedian there, and the name's escaping me. But anyways, they have ballet, they have operas, comedy shows. They have everything down there. And yeah, it's a good time. So check that out. I kind of told you the food must tries. And I think I'm just going through my notes to make sure that I hit everything for you. I'm pretty sure that's it. I told you the restaurants. I told you things to do. Time of the year to go. Time of the year to go. It's really hot from June to August and a little bit of September. I don't mind June and September. July and August can be pretty brutal, although it can cool down. Like there's monsoons that come through and cool down the city for a few weeks. There's only like a month, and not all the time. It's different pockets of weeks that are unbearable when it's like 120. There's always 1.5 weeks where it's 120 plus, then a few weeks where it's 112 to 120 plus, which isn't fun either. And it's all kind of sporadic with weather patterns, and monsoons come, make it cooler. So the summer isn't great. Anytime else, it's paradise. So come during then. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This is the Greatest Travel Podcast. in the universe. I'm your host, Fraser Laveay. Check out inspiredtraveleat.com to find all the best things to do in Sedona. Oh, I forgot to mention, go to Page. Page is north of Phoenix, 4 or 5 hours. Unreal place where there's Horseshoe Bend. If you have more time in Phoenix, obviously, it's 4 or 5 hours away. Antelope Canyon is there, Horseshoe Bend, Wire Pass, something else I may be forgetting, Monument Valley, and a couple really great places to eat. So if you have time, check that out. Obviously, the Grand Canyon is a few hours away. Check out the Grand Canyon if you're in town for 7 days and you have time to do that. Even 6 days, fly up there. I've got hikes to do at the Grand Canyon. And Flagstaff. Flagstaff is 2 hours away, 2.5 hours, depending on traffic. And there is Snowball, where you can snowboard in Phoenix. So you can go 2.5 hours one way and snowboard, and you can go 3.5 hours the other way and be on the beach in Mexico. You can also ski, I guess, up there. And I'm from Canada, and I snowboard a lot. No, it's not Whistler. No, it's not Vail. But for what it is, a quick trip from Phoenix, smaller hill, it really is cool. They do get some great snow, some unreal dumps up there. So for the cost, location, and easy to get to, and how cheap and affordable places to stay are up there, I really like it. I would go there over a Vail trip purely because getting to Vail or Whistler or wherever will take from your door to the door there, 10 hours. And I live 2 hours, an hour and flight to Denver. But you gotta leave your house in half an hour, get there an hour early, hour plus flight, bags, shuttle up to Vail. It's like 5 hours, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. Check in, everything. The whole thing will take you 8 to 10 hours. You can go up to Flagstaff, 2 hours. The cost. Oh yeah, the cost. But Vail lift tickets are now $200. Snowball 60 to 80. Places to stay there $100 to $200. Places to stay in Vail $500 to $800. Just really affordable, really easy to get to. So check that out. And yeah, so I'll redo inspiredtraveleat.com. Now we're done. This is the greatest podcast in the universe. Maybe. Fraser Laveay. Thanks for listening.